Hey guys, my name is CJ Westfall,
And I'm Joel Bryant.
and this is the Weekly Grab podcast. We're covering local stories, stories unique to South Carolina, and we're both two conservatives. I'm the libertarian leaning guy, but we've got a great show for you tonight. Stick around. Let's roll that intro. Thanks for joining the Weekly Grab, guys. We're so glad you're here. How are you doing today so far, Joel? It's been cold. It's been rainy.
Yeah,
How's your day been going?
it's been going good. Other than these gas prices, it has been going good.
God damn these gas prices, man. It's been over 60 cents in the last week, I think.
It's been, what was he said?
Over like 60 cents in the last
I
week
know.
it's gone up.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
It's nuts. It's nuts. So we're going to get into some of that. We're going to get into some of the local stories of the day. We're going to get into some of the main national stories of the day.
Yep.
You want to tell the people what we're about to do at 7 o'clock tonight?
We're going over, I'll let you break the news what we're doing, what we're doing.
So the Dorchester Republican Party, they've got a really cool social meeting down at the Somerville Country Club. It's at 7 o'clock. So if you're watching right now, come chat with us at 7 o'clock tonight. Kick it with us. Get a beer to come out. There's going to be some good speakers. The chairman, Stephen Wright, he's all right. He's all right,
He's
right?
cool.
He's cool. He's all right.
He ran the mile. He's cool. But
Yeah.
for those wondering, that's why we're an hour early tonight. Our normal time is 7, but so we were like, we'll go at 6 today.
Yeah, a little earlier today, but let's jump right into the news. A little, just like Drizzy Drake, right? So let's jump into the news of the day. Let's talk about what's going on. And guys, if you haven't heard, we have a really cool Facebook group. There's about 2,500 people in there, always having conversations about what's going on in Somerville, what's going around South Carolina, and also nationally. I feel like South Carolina is like a real hotbed for national politics that happens here. A lot of national stories break in South Carolina. So we do a little bit of both. I think that's what makes us unique. So we're really glad that you're here. But we're going to jump into some of the biggest stuff of the day. So there's a poll in our group. It's the Somerville News Facebook group. If you want to join that conversation. We love chatting with you guys. And the poll says Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is asking NATO to declare a no-fly zone over Ukraine. Do you think NATO should listen? Yes or no? What are your thoughts on that so far, Joel?
I'm going to be honest. I haven't been too in keen of what was happening lately, the last couple of days over with the Russia-Ukraine war. But the last I'd heard of, they were attacking like a nuclear plant, which I thought was kind of like dangerous.
And maternity bombing hospitals with kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's lots of war crimes going on over there. So the big debate is, should NATO declare a no-fly zone? And essentially what that would do is have NATO planes coming likely out of Poland, NATO being the large military alliance that was built during the Cold War, post World War II era, to kind of serve as a check on the Soviet Union. And it really hasn't been relevant since the Cold War era until now. And Trump really made them pay up more because we were protecting all these countries. Some of these are tiny countries, like you wouldn't even some of them you'd probably never even heard of, some of these countries.
Yeah. I was looking at the list the other day, and I was like, "Damn, I did not know that was a country."
Right. So should we be putting, because basically once a NATO country is attacked, then all the countries have to jump in to help that country that was attacked. So in this case, Russia said, if NATO declares a no-fly zone, then it could be all-out war. That could be seen as an act of war. So, do we want to be engaged in this war? Do we not? I'm still interested in what you guys have to say. Go vote in that poll. It's very interesting stuff. But let's get to the gas prices. So the Democrats right now with the gas prices, we talked about gas prices, how high they've gone up. Everyone's feeling it. I feel like I've seen it on everyone's Instagram and Facebook story. But MSNBC, they're always tone deaf. And Andrea Mitchell comes out and praises the messaging from Biden. And rather than praising action, she's praising the messaging. She's coming out saying that it's good that she's saying that Americans are willing to put up with surging pump costs to defend Ukraine. And so she's blaming it all on Putin. She's using Putin as the boogeyman, which he is horrible. But, Joel, I don't think all the gas prices are just Putin's fault, right? I mean, what are your thoughts?
I mean, the main blame is the guy that cut the XL pipeline his first day in office, Mr. Joseph Biden.
Yeah, and there was that, and he stopped drilling all over the country, and if we really deregulated that energy sector and got back to that policy that we had under Trump, where gas prices were under $2 a gallon, it's because we saw deregulation at a massive scale.
Yeah.
So Biden wants to pander to the pro-environment crowd, and I get it, but there's solutions that are friendly for the environment. For example, in Germany. So I was going to bring this up later in the podcast, but Trump was on the Full Send podcast with.
I saw that whole episode.
It was so good.
It's great.
The Nelk boys, our audience probably wouldn't know who they were, but they're a group of like mid-20s YouTubers who make prank videos, and they interviewed Trump. And Trump last night was talking about how Germany essentially surrendered to Russia, and by allowing their Nord Stream pipeline, right? And so now they're going to be almost completely dependent on Russia for oil. And Trump was making the point. He was like, be careful what you wish for, because now Germany is building up their military very strongly for the first time in a long time. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
And he's right, because
exactly.
Russia and Germany have had like a deep history in the last two world wars that have pretty much started as a result of those two. So Trump, talked about avoiding war, and I thought that interview was good. If you guys have a chance, go check it out. It was out last night. It's the Full Send podcast, and Trump was on. It was pretty good. But yeah, these gas prices are terrible. There's some local proposals in the state house to suspend the state gas tax. Actually, last November, Joe Cunningham, he was the first to talk about this. This was last November, and then recently some Republicans have been filing legislation to do it. That's really great. It would take it down a little bit, but not, we're still facing $4 a gallon. So we're going to keep an eye on that.
Crazy.
We're going to keep an eye on that. Sleepy Joe, he's super late to all this stuff. So hopefully he figures it out. But to everybody struggling out there, we're with you. We're empathizing with you. It's really frustrating. You want to tell me about what Twitter's doing with their new platform in Russia?
I actually just pulled it up. So Twitter launched a new version of their platform. So citizens in Russia can actually bypass the country's restriction and get on Twitter. It says regular sites, including twitter.com, are accessible. I think it's something to do with the Tor, and I don't know all the technical terms. Bear with me, but yeah, they essentially created a different version, kind of like dark web type thing, that allows them to circulate around Russia's policy where they can't access Twitter, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, because social media is kind of like taking center stage, I feel like, in this war, like with people seeing what's happening in real time on their mobile devices with the opportunity to take video. So yeah, very interesting stuff. I wanted to kind of get to some of the local stuff and get back to the national stuff. One of the big things that happened this week was the Dorchester County Democrat chairman dropped out of the congressional race. Did you see that?
I did see that, actually.
So there's a big group of people running to represent us for Congress, right? And one of them is this guy, Tim Lewis. And so he was running against Nancy Mace, and he was running as a Democrat. And this guy is a perennial candidate, so we'll invite him to come on. I want to hear what he has to say. I have his phone number, so I can call him anytime. But this guy, Tim Lewis, he ran for county council, then he ran for Dorchester County Democrat Party chairman. Now he's running, I think for county council against Harriet Holman. So read that article that we put. I'm going to drop that article here.
Yeah, you got it.
It's really interesting. I'm going to drop it in the comments for you guys. Read this article. This guy's run for 3 different offices in the last 4 years in Dorchester County. So I just think that's interesting. It's just something to keep an eye on. Maybe we'll have him on the show. Maybe he won't come on. But Joel, why would you want to run for 3 different offices in a 4-year period? Can you?
I don't know. It sounds like some ADHD type of you can't focus. You got to run for different offices.
But Yeah, and I don't want to be mean because I mean I know him and he's a good guy, but I just disagree with him
I
on
don't
just
doubt
about
that.
every.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
I don't, I just disagree with him on a lot. So I'll drop that article. So one of the things in this article here that you'll see is this nasty letter. So remember when Harriet Holman, it was national news, the Dorchester councilwoman, she announced that she was becoming a Republican. You remember that whole thing?
Yeah, I do. I do remember that.
So he left a note for her that was supposed to be a press advisory that no news outlet covered. And this is our Dorchester County Democrat chairman. He says, "I suppose now it's time for Harriet Holman to repay Henry McMaster and the Republicans for her appointment to Dorchester County Council in 2018," which is not accurate. She was elected. He says, "This is a slap in the face to the memory of Willie Davis," which is the African American councilman that preceded her. "Selling out in politics will eventually come back to haunt you. She got elected by Democrats in the special election in 2019, and Democrats will elect her replacement in 2022. I hope she has enjoyed her time on council because our candidates will beat her in November." So the word on the street is he was trying to find a candidate for a couple weeks. He couldn't find anybody. You all good over there, big dog?
What?
You good? I see you peeping.
Yeah, no, my roommate was being loud outside, and I was like, "What the heck is happening out there?" But anyway,
fine.
I'm back.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine, bro. So, anyways, I mean, long story short, it kind of seems like sour grapes here. It sounds like the Democrat Party is very sad that Harriet left and joined the GOP and wants to fight for lower taxes now. She doesn't want to, raise everybody's taxes like you guys do. We're fighting inflation. We're fighting heavy gas prices. We should be talking about, reducing tax burdens on people. The Democrats are just out of touch. So he's literally dropping out as chairman, dropping out of the congressional race, and we all think he's going to run against Harriet Holman. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, let's move on, man.
What was the next one you wanted to cover? The TSA extending their mask mandate.
Did I skip one? Oh no, yeah, let's do that. So the CDC last week, we covered it in our podcast. They changed their guidance, right? And they said that masks don't need to be required indoors anymore. And now the TSA, which is the bureaucracy that was created after 9/11, which 9/11 was horrible, but now it's turned into this awful bureaucracy that we can't get rid of, right? Whenever you go fly, like you have to deal with these people, and so now they're extending their mask mandate until April 18th. April 18th. So the CDC's admitted that these masks don't work. Fauci's admitted that these masks don't work. And they still want to mask us on these airplanes, man. What the hell? Like, absolutely insane.
It's insane. But you want to head into some more local news here with the big Republican primary that happened here? Was it a couple days ago?
Yeah, man.
Just touch on Robbie Robbins won for the District 97 State House Special Republican primary election. He beat out Candace Jennings. They were both great candidates, but I think definitely Robbie had more experience, and I'm excited to see what he does against Rajon Lewis.
Rajon Lewis, yeah, Rajon Lewis. So yeah, it was interesting. It was an interesting race. He won 59-41, which is a 18-point lead.
Something I think so, yeah.
But she did good, man. That's not to downplay anything. One thing I do want to say is this guy called into Kelly Golden and was like, "We don't need any incompetent soccer moms up there." As soon as I heard him say it, I was just like, "Come on, man! Like,
God, come on, man! Come on, man!"
Like, it's the day of the election. People are just learning about it, and this is how you want them to find out about the election, like calling it. And so how Kelly Golden, like, there's probably thousands of soccer moms that listen to Kelly Golden that were like, "Wait a second, like, is he insulting soccer moms?" Like,
yeah.
So yeah, I didn't like that, and I made it clear. I called in, and one thing I did notice. So Kelly Golden named her podcast episode "Soccer Moms," and so I called in and said that. I was like, "Hey, listen, I support Robbie. I know Candace, but this whole thing about soccer moms and insulting her like that, that's a personal attack. That has no place in our campaign. So if he's supporting Robbie, great, but that's not the kind of campaign we want to run. We don't want to, insult her and call her that. That's dumb. If anything, when I did my live stream, my critiques were about the policies that I didn't like.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. There's other people that have said things too, like she's a homeschool mom. How's she gonna homeschool her kids and go to the state house? I didn't even say that. So yeah, that's just a low blow. I forgot I can show the comments up here. Yeah, so check out this. This is the last story we were talking about. Here's a poll we were talking about. It's all in the comments if you guys have any questions. But yeah, so it was very interesting. Robbie Robbins is going to go on to face the Democrat. That's going to be May 17th. And then looks like Candace is going to run again. That'll be June 14th. And so he's going to be running against a Democrat and then less than a month later against the Republican. So essentially, he's going to be running against two people at the same time. So that's going to be a huge story to follow. We'll definitely stay on top of it. It's right here in Somerville. We're talking about District 97, which covers Dorchester County, Berkeley County, and Colleton County. Big significant counties in the Low Country.
Yep.
So yeah, man, what do you want to chat about next?
Well, social media is a huge part of our lives, and there's a new one on the block now. Donald Trump is expected to announce his new social media platform, Truth Social, on President's Day.
So have you signed up for it?
I have not yet. I need to see what it's all about.
Apparently, you sign up and you're put on a waiting list, but a couple people are like getting through. So we'll have to sign up, and next podcast we'll bring you guys a full report on Truth Social. I think it's crazy that Donald Trump is still banned off Twitter and Facebook.
Insane. Putin still has access to his, though, I think.
Oh, really?
I think so. I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure.
But I know like the Ayatollah of Iran does, and who was it else? I think it was the Taliban. Also has like what the hell, but not Trump. Like
they need to get I wonder if they're gonna get an OnlyFans account. That'd be interesting. No, I'm kidding.
An OnlyFans account. Who would get an OnlyFans account? Putin?
No, he probably would. Could put videos of him and his horse on there.
The shirtless pics, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's chat about. So tell me about. So let's switch gears. So. Big news this week. Russell Wilson's traded to the Broncos. Why the hell would they do that, Joel?
I don't know. I think that might have been something Russell wanted. I think he was tired of having to cook to get a score.
Tired of having to cook.
No O-line. I had to run around. But that was a huge deal. And then they cut Bobby Wagner not even like 4 hours after. I'm like, man, that's some self-explosion type of stuff right there.
They can never get the right pieces around Russell Wilson after the last Super Bowl run. So it's sad to see, but I'm good to see that he's getting a fresh start because Denver does have a little bit more pieces. They traded
a whole load too. It was there was a couple first round picks. Noah Fant was in there. Drew Lock. Not as much of a good little load for Seattle, but
now they can rebuild, right?
Yeah, they can rebuild.
Maybe the Jags will be better than them finally next year.
I don't know about that. Maybe if you actually sign a coach.
So we got the Eagles coach who won the Super Bowl in like 2019 or something.
That's right.
Doug Peterson. So guys, the latest in the Low Country cage match. So
what's the latest? What's the latest? I'm excited for this.
For those of you that watch the show, you know what we're talking about. Every week we're doing a segment between Nancy Mace and Katie Arrington, not Lindsay Piper Loomis, not Ingrid Centurion. These two women, one of these two women will be your congresswoman every week between now and June 14th. We're going to be monitoring this because these two women hate each other. They hate each other so much.
They do.
And so I actually had a chance to chat with both of them. I was at the Berkeley GOP. I was at the Dorchester GOP this weekend. And I'll keep those conversations private, but out of respect. But this is getting heated. And so here's a couple things kind of coming up. So here's the latest in the Low Country cage match, right? So Katie Arrington is going to be at the Trump rally this Saturday. So if you didn't know that, this Saturday in Florence, Donald Trump is going to be in Florence, South Carolina. Katie Arrington's putting together busloads of people where you pay like $180 or $200, and she'll bus you all the way down to Florence and take you back. and then you get to sit behind Donald Trump in the speech. So it's a pretty good deal that she's been offering people.
That's a good deal.
I know a lot of people that are going and doing that. So yeah,
I mean, if is Jake Paul going to be there? Because that's going to be the deciding factor for me. If Jake Paul ain't there, I ain't going to make it, bro.
No one that watches this knows who Jake Paul is.
There might be a couple. Let's have faith.
So anyways, so Nancy is not going to have Trump support this time. Katie obviously is. Trump is going to be campaigning for Katie. Also, Russell Fry. Russell Fry is his endorsed candidate running against Tom Rice up in the Myrtle Beach area. And I spoke to Nancy at length as well this weekend. And basically, you know, one of the things I asked Nancy was, can you still win it without Trump? And she believes she can. So that is going to be interesting to follow. Also, here's the final note on the Low Country Cage Match segment. So Nancy Mace is actually, you got to come to this with me. I think it's either April 2nd or April 3rd. I'll make sure to post it in our discussion group. Make sure to join that discussion group if you're not in it. But the Berkeley GOP is hosting the first debate or forum, you can call it, between these two women, and they just hate each other. So I'll give you this preview. On Saturday in Somerville, both Katie and Nancy were at the Dorchester GOP office grand opening, and they both gave speeches. And I believe it was the first time, or maybe earlier that morning at the Berkeley GOP, it was the first time that either of them have been in the same room since Katie announced and dropped her attack ad on Nancy. And so the tension was definitely clear. And they were, you know, they were positive, but there were some subtle shots. There were some subtle shots. Nancy was like, I didn't raise your taxes. You can trust me with our nation's secrets. You know, that was interesting because Katie did support the gas tax. But then Katie had some interesting points too, talking about the election being stolen and Nancy, you know, so depends on where you fall on it. I'm curious where you guys stand on it. My mind is still not made up. What do you think?
I'll be honest. I think I'm gonna probably end up leaning a little bit more towards Nancy. I think.
Really?
I think maybe a little bit more. I think she gets
the Trump supporters. The Trump supporters are gonna be mad at you, bro.
They are, but I think she gets a lot of unnecessary flack for the 2020 election. Like, you know, she certified it, but I'm like, well, her state, South Carolina, had an actual solidly secure election. So why would Nancy be the one to not? Why would she have to be the one to decertify? I think there's a lot of other people that would be at blame for not investigating whatever may or may not.
I think the argument is there was a lot of voter fraud. There's a lot of proof of it. And so their argument is they wanted her to vote to decertify the election results, to go back to the states so the state legislators could decide. I think Nancy's argument is that the Constitution is clear. That's not what their role is. Their role is a constitutional role to certify the results. It's not to do an investigation. That's what for the states to do. So I think that it's a nuanced discussion. I think we're going to keep having the discussion. Maybe we need to have a specialist on. Maybe we need to have like a super passionate person on the show on the subject so that we can kind of hash that issue out more.
Definitely.
But it's going to take center stage. So make sure that you're tuning in each week to the Weekly Grab so we can chat about the latest in the Low Country Cage Match. And I will be at their debate. Maybe we'll broadcast live from the debate. Maybe we'll set up a live stream, me and you, and we'll broadcast live from their first debate because it's going to get heated. These are two passionate women, and they hate each other.
Hey, it might be a good idea.
That would be fun. So let's finish up here. I think we've hit most of the stories that we were going to hit. So yeah, just a couple things that we want to do, just housekeeping wise. Hang tight here. So if you're watching, some people listen on Spotify, you're more than welcome to do that. But if you're watching, you're seeing the graphics right now coming on the screen for nugofknowledge.com, and that's who's sponsoring the show. Nug of Knowledge. This show is brought to you by Nug of Knowledge, which sells premium cannabis, and it's legal.
Premium.
So Somerville PD, I know you're watching. It's legal. So anyways, this premium cannabis, you can find the best 100% natural CBD, CBG, and Delta 8 THC over at nugofknowledge.com. They've got flower, vapes, edibles, and even more strains and flavors on the way. This is a great way to get your cannabis 100% legally and support our show and support the Liberty Movement all at the same time. That sounds amazing. Go to nugofknowledge.com, use promo code Somerville to get 10% off today's purchase. Expand your mind, live your best life with Nug of Knowledge Premium Cannabis at nugofknowledge.com, promo code Somerville. They've got the good stuff. They got the good stuff. nugofknowledge.com.
That was good.
Yes, sir. So let's preview next week. So next week, we're going to be chatting about the results of this poll. Do you believe, and I'll put it back up in the comments so you guys can see it, do you believe the United States should be putting up a no-fly zone in Ukraine? Is that our fight? Is that something that we should be doing? Go vote in the poll. Tell me why in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts. And then also the other thing that we're going to keep an eye on, we're going to reach out to Tim Lewis, the Democrat Party chairman. We're going to be fair. We're going to be respectful. We're going to be kind. But I want to ask him if he's running because he's bitter, if he's running because he's an opportunist, or if he has a vision for Dorchester County that maybe we have some things in common on. So let's give him a fair chance, Joe. See if we can bring him on the show.
Yeah.
I'm not a Democrat, but I want to have this guy on and see what he thinks. So read the full story. Read his letter about Harry Holman. I think he's a bitter. I think he's a little opportunist, but I could be wrong. Let's give him a chance. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to include before we hop off?
This podcast is also brought to you by SomervilleNews.net and CJ's Amazing Mustache.
And what was the other thing? Oh, and lastly, if you're joining us now at 6:30 p.m. while we're watching, if you're watching after this doesn't apply to you, but join us tonight. We're headed right after this to the Somerville Country Club. We're going to be there for an awesome social meeting that Stephen Wright puts on. Stephen Wright, that Stephen Wright guy, I don't know about him, Joel. What do you think?
I like Stephen. He's all right. He's cool.
I love that guy. Absolutely.
Yeah,
so come out. There's going to be great speakers. Look at this. We're getting trolled. This is good. I got to put this on before we hop off.
What is this? Okay.
I don't know what that is. That's
I don't
funny
even know. I don't even know how to pronounce that.
Anyways, so thank you guys so much for joining us. You can find us live every Thursday at 7 o'clock on Facebook and YouTube. You can find our audio-only version episodes on Spotify. We're going to bring some interesting interviews going forward. We're also going to bring to you all the latest news from the national level, stories unique to South Carolina, and stories that affect you right here at home. So I think that's what sets us apart. If you'd like to have any questions for us or something you'd like to add on the show, we have a way to leave a voicemail for us. And you know what? I didn't play the voicemails this time, but we did get a couple. So next episode, we'll play your voicemails. Basically, you go to, I can just put the link in the comments, actually, before we hop off. We're not at our 30-minute hard deadline yet. So basically, the way it works is if there's something that you want us to cover, if there's something you want us to chat about, all you have to do is go to this link that I'm going to put here in the comments. Leave us a voicemail. And if you're a hater, we'll still play it. Like, leave us a voicemail even if you're a hater. So it's anchor.fm/theweeklygrab. It's going in the comments. Oh, thanks, Joel.
Yeah. The logo's been updated since the screen grab, but
the logo's been updated since, but the link is in the comments. It's going to be interesting. We've got a lot of interesting stories to cover going forward. Rajon Lewis versus Robbie Robbins. Robbie having to run against Candace at the same time. Also, the Tim Lewis situation with Harriet Holman's going to be interesting. Also, the situation with Katie Arrington and Nancy Mace is going to be interesting. So there's so much stuff on the horizon. What's going to happen in these upcoming elections? We're going to be on top of it. Thank you so much for spending part of your Thursday evening with us. We'll be back Thursday live at 7 o'clock next week. Thank you. God bless. Hopefully I'll see some of you guys tonight.